My name is Rob, and joining me is Ashley. Hi, hello, Ashley.
Aloha,
And Melikaliki
Maka.
Micah.
Yep.
Maka. Don't maka me. Okay. Last week we were discussing memory issues. I'm going to put the graphic up on the screen so you can read along with me. How others can help with communication. So, people with a traumatic brain injury may not be able to interpret or understand words, messages, thoughts, and feelings that are a part of a conversation. In such instances, others can help people with a traumatic brain injury by using kind words and a gentle tone of voice. And that's very, it seems like it shouldn't have to be said, but with someone with a brain injury, the kindness really goes a long way because it shows compassion. And I feel like everybody needs compassion, especially if you're experiencing a brain injury, because you don't see the injury, you don't know what the person's going through. So you should always use kind words with people with a brain injury. The second one is limiting conversations to one person at a time. That's a very big one. Ashley, in your job, do you have that issue where you have to talk to multiple people all day?
Yes, and meetings that have multiple people in it. And I find that sometimes I interrupt because I think somebody's done speaking, but it's just they finished a sentence. So then I start talking, and then it's like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were finished. So kind of hard one to work around for me, but
Yeah, with face to face, that's very hard to work around. For myself, I work from home, so it's not difficult. But when you have five, eight people sending you instant messages at one time, oh gosh, can that get overwhelming? And even though you're giving one person attention at a time, you are still missing things because you're overloading your brain, and that comes back to the spoons. And I don't think we've discussed the spoon theory on the
not yet.
podcast,
But I do
but
have my spoon with me.
it's better cognitively if you limit your conversation and devote your entire time to the one person, because if you try to overload it, it's nothing's going to stick. Clear communicate to your loved ones what you are thinking, feeling, or want. And I feel like I really struggle with this with my wife. I don't know if you do with your spouse, with your husband. I don't know why I said spouse. I don't know if you've experienced this with your spouse or not, Ashley, but um, in my head, I know what I want to say, but what comes out of my mouth, there's like a big disconnect between the two.
Okay.
Now, I think you do you have an example that you wanted to share with your spouse?
No, I'm pretty good at me telling him what I think or want or feel. Um, he's just not the same way, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
And
So,
everybody communicates differently. And
yeah.
you probably have a really good communication style with your husband because he knows how you are, and that's all he's ever known because you were like this whenever you met.
hmm
So with me, there's a bigger gap to fill because I'm a different person now.
hmm
So yeah, I think it's a little bit different if someone doesn't know you, you know, pre-concussion.
Right.
Next, helping to redirect the conversation if the person gets off topic by saying, "We were talking about."
Yeah, I will find myself saying, now circling back to such and such, or let's get
Oh, I
back
love that.
to such and such. Because, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
easy to get off topic, and then it's kind of like, well, what were we just talking about? So,
Hmm. Yeah, especially if you have a friend that likes to derail the conversation and go, seven different ways, and you're
hmm
like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah.
Let's one discussion at a time. Yeah. Okay. And then last one is if you are working with a speech therapist, it can be helpful to have a loved one join those sessions, including family members in sessions can help you to carry over new skills to everyday life.
That's a great one. I personally did not need speech therapy. Luckily, I only needed physical therapy, occupational therapy, and then some like medical evaluations. But as a person that had a speech issue as a child, having my parents be involved so those skills could translate to the home environment from school was
Mhm.
definitely very helpful. So I can kind of relate in that sense. I don't know how you feel, but I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it is a good idea. I did go to a speech therapist because
Mhm.
I have a bad stutter, and it definitely comes out when there's several people around me. I
Mhm.
think it's more anxiety than anything.
Yeah.
And Sheila did go with me, so that was very helpful for not only for her to be there to experience what I was experiencing, and to help me along,
Mhm.
um, but it also she was an advocate for me as well, if that makes sense.
Right.
Where I would get hung up on words, and she would say, "Oh, he's trying to say, blah blah blah."
So
So,
helping fill in those pieces so the clinician could help you.
right, yeah, and there was a few bumps, but since Sheila was there with me,
Mhm.
that was a major help.
Yeah.
We have something in our house, we call it Robbie's,
Okay.
because I do have problems with, like, say this is a pen,
Mhm.
okay, and my brain knows it's a pen, and I know what it is, but I might not be able to come up with the word pen.
Okay.
So I'll say, um, "Can you? Where's the plastic pointy things?" Someone that doesn't know me, they're gonna go, "Huh?" But Sheila would say, "Oh yeah, the pens are in the cup in the office." Or if I'm getting out of the shower, I'll say, "Can you hand me an ear stick?" And she knows what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
The
Q-tip.
Yes, yes, thank you. So we have quite a bit of that. But I stumped the therapist once because I asked. We were talking about white fluffy stuff. I went to uh, Walmart, and I texted Sheila, "Do you want white stuff, fluffy stuff?" And she replied back, "Oh yeah, I need blah 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 blah." So Sheila knew what I was talking about, but the therapist thought I was talking about marshmallows, I think.
What were you talking about?
Um, White fluffy stuff. No, I'm just kidding. Um, Cottage cheese.
Okay.
So that's one way that my brain compensates whenever I can't think of the actual word, the descriptions come
Descriptors.
out.
Mhm.
Yeah. So she helped me and to coming up with better descriptors, giving more information. So I don't go up to the Walmart employee and say, "Hey, where do you keep your white fluffy stuff?" You're like, "Huh?"
Excuse me, sir? I think I need to take you to the security desk.
Security. That's funny. Okay, in this second column, and I'll put this up as well, and this probably was going to relate more to us than anything, is how can family members help us? Circling back, attending therapy sessions with your loved one in order to know what they are working on and to help reinforce skills that are being taught. So, just like my example of going to speech therapy,
Mhm.
Sheila was there with me. So, it's still therapy, so that still counts.
Mhm.
Give the person extra time to think things through and arrive at a solution.
Mhm.
And I have mixed feelings on that as well. Um, I feel like that is up to the individual. For me, when I'm grasping for what I'm trying to come up with, I do like that extra assistance. I
Mhm.
feel like you need to, whatever works best for you, that's what you need to do. And your spouse is going to know. Um, Brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, they may not know, so you might want to share that information with them. If I'm struggling, you can help me, or if I'm struggling, give me more time to come up with the words.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
See, I
so it goes
actually,
both ways. Go ahead.
sorry, I was going to say, I actually like getting the time to think about it, and my husband will give me the time to think about it. And then if I can't think of it, I'll ask him for assistance. Just because I feel like it's a good practice for me to try to retrieve the information in my brain.
Yeah, that's a good example. Sorry for everybody if I blew your eardrums out. Um, I know I'm a goofball, but yeah, whatever works best for you. And if you can't come up with the words and you want the help, ask. But
Mm-hmm.
communicate, with the people in your family how you want to do that.
Right.
It'll take the pressure off of yourself and off of them.
Mm-hmm.
Give realistic, supportive feedback referring to a situation that happened and that unwanted consequences. Work together to come up with a different approach. Um, yeah, I'm guilty of that. I have no filter. I didn't have much of a filter before the
Mm-hmm.
injury, but now, I mean, whatever comes in here comes out here. I don't know usually what I'm thinking until I say it.
Yeah, sometimes I have to preface it with to be blunt or don't take this the wrong way, but I can't think of a better way to put it. Like, this way they're prepared to not possibly be offended.
Usually, my wife was after the fact, and it's just she'll say, "You shouldn't tell people blah 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 blah. They don't need that much information." So
Yeah.
it's hard. It is hard, and we all struggle. So
It's a balancing
be
act, and with time and different situations, you'll get
oh,
it.
absolutely, absolutely. And the last one: help your loved one to generate different options and alternative solutions to problems. Again, mixed feelings on that one because if you're not one of the people that likes confrontation, because I'm kind of a peacemaker in my family, so I'm not gonna go to someone and say, well, when you said to me blah 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 blah, I really didn't like it because I felt you were being too blunt with me. But if you are a more outgoing person, I think that would probably work for you. Then go for it. So some of these you just got to use your best judgment on.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain people in my family I like to be able to talk things through and I can resolve it, but then there's other people that you're just going to get so heated that you agree to disagree, or like you said, they're the peacemaker. That's the way my husband is. So, it's going to plead the fifth. So it just really depends on what works for you.
But yeah, when this episode launches, it will be in the new year. So I hope everyone had a very happy and safe new year. And just want to remind you guys, be kind to yourself. Um, that's all you can do, and give yourself some grace. We all need grace. So, Ashley, closing thoughts.
Thank you, everybody. Like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the new year. Happy 2024.
Thank you, and I am Rob,
And I'm Ashley Melakamiki Maka,
and this is Life Rewired.
the Brain Injury Podcast.